Hi friends, today's topic of discussion is classification of production processes based on the function of process or the nature of work involved. In this video, we will only upload the photographs or the diagram of the processes, and those diagrams or photographs are not for all the processes but few processes, so that you can at least have the visual of how the process looks like. So as we know, there are like 7 processes which are like classified based on the function of the process or nature of work involved. The theory is already uploaded in the previous video. So let us start. Processes for changing the physical property of the material. As we discussed, there are various heat treatment processes which can change the physical property. The second is casting processes. Third is primary metal working process. Fourth is shearing and forming processes. Fifth is joining processes. Sixth is machining processes. Seventh is surface finishing processes. So let us start. So the first part is processing for changing the physical properties of the material. Here, as we know, heat treatment is involved. So individual heat treatment photographs are not possible to obtain, but what we have done, after heat treatment, the job when it comes out from the furnace, how it looks, that photograph we have taken. As you can see, a job which is already heat treated is coming out from the furnace and how it looks. So now the second part, that is casting processes. So in casting, there are various type of casting, that is sand casting, permanent mold casting, die casting. So we will see the photographs or diagrams or drawings of the same. So this is sand casting, where you have cope and drag, and where you have sprue from where the molten metal is poured into the mold cavity. This is the core and that is the riser. So it is the setup for sand casting process. This is the permanent mold. As you can see, that is the half of the mold and the second half of the mold, and in between the core is there, and once the die is closed, okay, both half are closed, the molten metal is poured and it takes the shape of the mold, but this mold is permanent. And now the die casting process, where as you can see the die is there, okay, and once it is closed, the metal is poured and it is injected with the help of injection piston, and it takes the shape of the cavity, and then the die is opened and the product is removed. Then the next is the primary metal working processes, okay, which is one of the classification of production processes, primary metal working processes. Here you have different types, that is like forging. As you can see, the material is being pressed, so it is taking the shape. As you can see, it is moving on both the side, okay, it is getting pressurized from top. So this is forging. This is rolling process. As you can see, there are two rollers, okay, and the material is entering from one side, and when it passes to the rollers, the size gets reduced. So this is rolling, that is metal rolling. And then extrusion. As you can see, the molten metal is used in the different type of this thing, but here the metal block itself is kept. This is hot metal block, and then you have a dummy block which is used, okay, and then there is a piston which pushes the dummy block, and dummy block pushes the molten metal block, and then based on the hole size or the aperture which is in the die holder, the output, okay, takes the shape. So this is extrusion process, okay. So now let us move on to the next type, which is shearing and forming processes, which is the fourth type. So here we have taken the photographs of shearing or diagrams of shearing, drawing and stretching. So this is shearing process. As you can see, there is bottom support, and from top, okay, it is getting sheared. Okay, so the left part and the right part will be two separate part after the shearing process. Okay, the hatching part is the workpiece. So this is drawing, where the material is getting drawn. Okay, and as you can see, it is hold, so that the material does not come at once, it gets drawn slowly. This is stretch forming. As you can see, the hatching part is the material or the sheet metal, and based on this die or the punch, it is taking the shape of that with the process of stretch forming. So now the next process, that is the joining process, where we have different process like welding, brazing, soldering, riveting, screw fastening, pressing, adhesive joining. So but here we will take only the photograph of a welding and riveting. So let's see the photograph of the same. This is the welding process. As you can see, the two plates are being joined in this process. Okay, so this is welding process. And now we will see regarding riveting. As you can see, it goes from right to left. First, the rivet with the shank and the tail is put between the two plates which are to be joined, and then it is pressurized from the other end so that it takes the shape of the rivet head on the other side also. Next is machining processes. Here there are various processes like turning, drilling, boring, rimming, shaping, planing, slotting, milling, abrasive machining, sawing, broaching, hobbing. So here we have taken photographs or drawing of few processes like turning. So this is the drawing of turning. This is the workpiece and cutting tool. Okay, the cutting tool is going against the workpiece and removing the material in the form of chips. Okay, so the workpiece is rotating. In drilling, as you can see, this is the drill bit and this is the workpiece, and drill is passing through the workpiece and it is going beyond the workpiece. Okay, so that the full complete hole is formed. This is the milling cutter. As you can see, this is actually form milling cutter, so that the material takes the form of the cutter. And in the next figure we will see how the cutter passes through the workpiece. So this is the workpiece and this is the cutter. The cutter enters the workpiece and slowly, by rotating motion, it removes the material from the workpiece surface. This is broaching. Broaching, as you can see, the diameter of the left side is smaller and on the right side it is bigger. So it starts with a small hole, and once the broach passes from through and through, the hole size becomes bigger. So broaching is used for increasing the size of the hole or other process like making the keys. So next is surface finishing processes. So in this you have various surface finishing processes like honing, barrel tumbling, polishing, buffing, anodizing, metal spraying, electroplating, inorganic coating or buffing. Here we have taken photograph of honing. This is the honing tool where you can see honing stone. And we will see the photograph of lapping machine also. So this is the photograph of lapping machine. As you can see, This is in between, there is workpiece, and from top it is being pressurized, and it has been pressurized against the abrasive surface so that the surface finish improves. So the last one about surface finishing process, here it is electroplating. As you can see, the material from one element is getting removed and it is getting deposited on other metal, so it increases the surface finish as well as the wear resistance. So this was the classification of production processes, which was based on functions of the process or the nature of work involved. Hope you like the video. We will again meet in the next video very soon. Till then, goodbye.